Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/ASYM for the top 10 stocks to buy right now. One fascinating question to ask in the market right now is, has Disney lost its mojo? The company has gone through these ebbs and flows over the years of how good their content is, particularly on the animated side. When Bob Iger took over as CEO in the early 2000s, one of the reasons he bought Pixar was because Pixar was really where the creativity was happening. It wasn't happening at Disney Studios anymore. And with the recent flop of Elemental, it's worth asking whether Disney is in one of these lulls again. My name's Travis William. Thanks for watching Asymmetric Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content. And I want to go through a little bit of the history of Disney's animated movies on the Pixar side, which I think has really struggled recently, and then on the Disney side as well. I'll just start with this because this is really what brought this up to me. Elemental came out, has done $50.8 million in worldwide box office. That's after a June 16th release. I'll be honest, I have kids that are the age that Elemental should really fit with. They love Pixar movies, they love a ton of Disney movies. I had no idea that this movie was coming out. So that's kind of where things are with some of these movies now. There could be some reasons behind that. Maybe they put the money into making this movie and then just simply didn't promote it very much. That would make sense. Sometimes that happens with movies because about half the cost of the movie itself goes into promotion. So maybe they kind of cut their losses and said, hey, we're not going to put much money into promotion. We'll have it in theaters. We'll make it available on streaming, but we're not going to put more money into promotion and sort of put good money after bad. But that's really what brought this up to me. And I went back and looked at the history of Pixar films in particular. And I think Pixar is really interesting because you go back to Elemental a year ago, they had Lightyear. Lightyear was an okay movie, but did not do very, very well in the box office, $226 million. There was a pandemic impact from that, so I don't want to overlook that, but not a great result from a Pixar movie. Turning Red, not all that inspiring. Same with Luca. Soul didn't do very well. Onward, I would say was kind of the last big movie that Pixar put out. But again, that was impacted by the pandemic. So from a purely financial standpoint, probably not a huge success for Disney. You got to go all the way back to 2019 with Toy Story 4 to have a real big hit. But if we keep going back here, there are some real duds in here. Coco didn't do great. The Good Dinosaur, same thing. Brave. It's not all roses for Pixar. They had a great run for quite a while, but there are some duds in there. I think what's interesting is that there are more duds right now than there ever has been. But if we look at the Disney movies, and this list from Wikipedia has all of the movies. So you can see the studio over here on the right. This includes some of the Pixar movies. But if we go back to Encanto, did reasonably well. Raya, same thing. So both of those are from the Walt Disney Animation Studio. Walt Disney Animation also produced Frozen 2. That was a huge success. Ralph Breaks the Internet, maybe not a massive success, but very valuable. Very good film, something that's going to get a lot of rewatch from the streaming services. Moana is in here. So it really isn't all bad when you include both of their studios, but that clearly something has changed, particularly on the Pixar side of things, over the last few years. The challenge for Disney is that these movies are really what stirs the drink for the company. Not only does it bring in money from the box office, but this is what ends up on streaming services, on cable networks, what drives the rides and the characters that we see at theme parks. So there's a lot that goes into the animation studios, and you really have to have those hits to have that waterfall effect where you're making money over and over and over. And that's what I think is really lacking at Disney right now. This may be one of the reasons that Bob Chapek was pushed out, because the films that he oversaw and approved, kept pushing forward, just aren't going to be all that successful at the box office or on an ongoing basis for Disney. So has the company lost its magic? I don't know that that's the case. And I say that simply because this ebbs and flows for Disney over time. If you go back through their history, they will do phenomenally well for 4, 5, 6 years in a row. And then they'll hit this swoon where they'll make a bunch of movies that just don't do well in the box office, that we don't even see the characters anymore. We may be in that period right now that may be partially impacted by the pandemic, maybe impacted by cost cutting that's happening. So I'm not necessarily worried about Disney long term, especially with Bob Iger back in control. But this is something to keep an eye on, because if the duds keep coming from Disney, this is going to be something the company is paying for years to come. So what do you think? Has Disney lost its magic? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to follow Asymmetric Investing. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you here next time.